prep list and produce prep that's the recommendation because produce needs to be isolated from everything else.
Hey guys, Mr. Knife Fanatic here. Today I have another white number 1 knife for you. This is the Yamashin 210mm white number 1 Gyuto. Last week we brought you the Gyuto white number 1 Gyuto, which was a competitively priced white number 1 knife, and so is this one. This is going to compete very well with the Gyuto ITK line, and it's brand new to the site. Really haven't gotten to try it out yet, so excited to see how she performs. So here we go, guys. We have a Hitachi white number 1 steel core. Hitachi white number 1 steel is the finest grain of the Hitachi steels. It is basically just a pure carbon steel. I think between 1.3, 1.4% carbon, something like that, and really no alloys whatsoever. So it's a just real pure stuff. A pure joy to sharpen. Sharpens really fast, low burr formation, and takes well to natural stones like you wouldn't believe. Really good stuff. So. The blade length, it's advertised as a 210. It's actually 215 on the edge, the cutting edge. Measured it myself. I think Mark also lists that on the site that it's 215 on the edge. A little bit long, longer than advertised, but if you look at the profile, you have a very pointy tip on it. This is closer to what they're calling a Funiyuki profile or the Masamoto KS tip, where it starts the spine starts to drop down a lot further back. Where a lot of Gyutos, they start to drop the nose of it a little closer up here where the grind is. So kind of gives you a little bit more of a spear tip. Kind of a cool look. I like it a lot, actually. So here we go, guys. And also the height, 51 millimeters. This would be considered a little bit tall even for a 240 millimeter knife. There we go. Put a ruler up to it for you. Personally, I like tall knives myself. That's a personal preference. Some people don't. Some people think on a 240 that they don't want to go above 47 millimeters on it, you know. That's all what you like, you know. It's more of the way it feels in the hand. It's a little bit of a stout feeling knife, even though it's not really that stout. I guess for a 210 it might be a little bit. So the spine thickness is listing at 3.4 millimeters. That's really a 3.4 coming out of the tang here. A lot of these Kurouchi finish knives they're thick out of the tang. It's just the way that they're forged, and it drops down really quick. But you still have about 2.5 plus millimeters here in the body, about 2 millimeters here, and it doesn't distal taper very much at all. That's something when you start to get into these knives that are under $100, even though we have white number 1 in the core, you know, you're going to think, what separates this from a more expensively priced knife? And the distal taper is one thing you will look for on a more expensive knife. They tend to distal taper a lot thinner at the tip like that. It's something that takes a little longer. And then the grinds, you know, tend to be a little different. Finishes are different. But speaking of the finish, this is, you know, your Kurouchi finish. I actually like this one a little bit better than the Gyuto ITK line. It looks very similar, but it's a little smoother, actually. They kind of polished this, so I do intend on this lasting a little bit longer than the average lacquer Kurouchi finish. So here we go. Where else are we at? The weight, we have 157 grams. I would classify this as a medium weight. Keep in mind, this is not a 240, and a lot of the knives we've been measuring lately have been 240s, so there we go, 157. So for a 210, I would definitely say this is a medium weight knife. Definitely not a featherweight by any means. It's got a little bit of spine to it, and yeah. So here we go. The handle, it is hoe wood and just a resin ferrule. This is, you know, nothing really to write home about. Gets the job done and would be a great candidate for making a rehandle knife. The balance point on it, definitely going to be a blade heavy there. Let's see. Try to do this without cutting myself. And that is right on your pinch grip. There you go. And about the grind, I looked at the grind, something a little bit different. It is an asymmetric grind. A lot of Japanese grinds, Japanese knives have asymmetric grinds, but they're on the right side of the knife. This one is asymmetric on the left side. It's actually completely flat on the right side, then asymmetrically ground. It is convex. I don't have a potato today to measure stickiness. I imagine this would push a potato off quite well, actually. About thickness behind the edge, This is, like I said, it's convex. The knife is not thick behind the edge, but it is not as thin as, this is not anywhere near the laser category. You could probably do a little bit of frozen food with this knife even. I'm not talking, heavy frozen food. Within reason, guys. It is a very hard knife. You generally do not want to go through frozen food with your chef knife, so. That being said, let's get some ingredients on the board and see how it performs. Everything out of the way. Now, I haven't cut anything today, so bear with me if I'm a little rusty. We'll start off with dicing an onion. See how the tip goes through. Now, we were mentioning before that the tip, doesn't have a whole lot of distal taper. There is distal taper that comes along with the grind here. As you can see, the finish has been ground. So this portion of it should still slide through just fine. Well, we will see. A little bit of wedging actually because of that, but still gets through fine. You can feel it lift the onion just a little bit. It still functions great though. A little bit of wedging, not too bad. Grind goes through very well. It's a very strong knife. Let's just say it's the edge on here is going to be a little bit stronger. There's nothing wrong with that. This is white number 1, and it's more of a delicate type steel. So having a stronger edge would be a little bit of a benefit for edge life on this for you. Nice wide knife. Even for a 210, we're able to scoop up a whole lot of ingredients with it. We'll go ahead and dice the other half of this. This knife should chop very well. Very big sweet spot here. I'm gonna go ahead and chop. Actually, with the weight of this and being a taller knife, it should chop very well. Let's see. Yep, got one of these getting over the top. That annoys me to death when I'm chopping. There we go. And it does, chops very well. Notably, this does not fall through food like the laser does. You do have to put a little bit more force to get through your ingredient. Now keep in mind, this still performs very well compared to a lot of your Western knives. This is still fairly thin behind the edge. It is not, when I say compared to the laser, it's not terribly thin, but still not a thick knife, It doesn't weigh, at 157 grams, no, it's not a big knife at all, so. This would be a lot better, I would say, as a workhorse type knife and a great home knife. Also great for somebody who's just getting into Japanese knives or getting into sharpening. I really think that beginning sharpeners should try to look at getting some good carbon steel to start off with, because it's very discouraging to start off on a really crappy stainless steel because you can never get those sharp and you just tend to give up. Whereas you buy one of these knives and sharpen it inside of 10 minutes and you feel like $1 million after. So just something to think about if you're just looking to get into Japanese knives and looking to sharpen. White number 1 is the best sharpening steel of the bunch, and you're going to get into it for under $100 right now. Really something to think about. Here we go, guys. Do a little celery for you. Ooh. Careful there. With the asymmetric grind, I don't really notice any steering issues. It just seems to push down fairly straight, actually. So I've never really used a left hand ground knife yet, and I really don't notice any difference. So, show you a little bit of rocking. A little more chopping, do a pinch grip on it. Very nice, and actually not going to put that celery in that bowl. This knife does chop very well. I think it would be great for mincing herbs too, with the nice flat profile on it. There's it rocks, does its short rock very well. This would be actually a monster little prep knife. Be a lot of fun to rehandle this too. Alrighty, and here we go. Lastly, I have a carrot to take care of. Let's see now, the grind still pushes off. Carrot, no sticking. So, as I say that, it sticks. You like that, huh? Nice thin slice. As I said, these would compete with the Tojiro ITK line, which those are white number 2 knives. White number 2 is supposed to hold an edge a little bit longer than white number 1, but honestly, I think the difference is going to be very minute. Personally, as far as the blade construction goes and feel in the hand, I prefer this knife over the Tojiro ITK line. That being said, Tojiro ITK line is a little bit thinner behind the edge than this one is. So, something to take into consideration there. This one uses a better steel and has a slightly better kudo-uchi finish. The Tojiro ITK line has a slightly thinner grind. This one has a very nice grind. I have to say my only maybe complaint about the knife was the out-of-the-box edge. It was still plenty sharp enough to use for a home user. Chances are, if you're buying white number 1 steel, you're a sharpener or you want to sharpen. And let me tell you, in 10 minutes, I had this thing shaving arm hair with no problem. So. Knife handle's great, guys. Don't really have a whole lot more ingredients to cut, but as you can see, we're just getting through the carrots. This is nothing for the knife to do. We're just going through the motions, so. But there you go. There we go, guys. This is definitely a great little workhorse white number 1. Nice convex edge, very low sticking on it. But when it comes to sharpening, this is going to be your favorite steel to sharpen. I guarantee it. So. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.